zone. Glare. All right, well, good morning. Thank you all for being here. We are having our press conference in the wake of Tropical Storm Cristobal. With me this morning is our Director of Homeland Security, Mr. Colin Arnold, along with Superintendent Sean Ferguson, the New Orleans Police Department, Gassan Corbin, who is the Director of the Sewage and Water Board, and Mr. Ramsey Green, my Deputy CAO of Infrastructure, all joining me this morning and briefing you on what we know is Cristobal, tropical storm that will have impact on the city of New Orleans. I'm just coming from my mayoral briefing, all city departments as well as partners in terms of how we prepare for these types of events. The city of New Orleans continues to monitor the progression and movement of Tropical Storm Cristobal, which again is moving in our direction, meaning that current forecasts track the likelihood of a direct impact. It's likely and it's increasing by the hour. We are expecting heavy rain throughout the weekend. Heavy rain throughout the weekend. Local totals, we're told, in an upward of 10 inches or more. That is definitely possible for the city of New Orleans. A flood watch will remain in effect through Tuesday morning. We could face a sustained tropical storm force of wind. So we're talking wet and we're talking wind here, right here for the city of New Orleans. We're continuing to monitor the levels of the Mississippi River. Again, in the briefing, said the levels can get an upward of 17 feet. We will monitor that. We're staying in tight communication, of course, and in coordination with local, state, and federal partners. Federal partners reached out a couple of days ago as we have been watching Cristobal. We said earlier on at the start of hurricane season, which was on Monday, that this was going to be a very active season, meaning throughout the year. And with this being the third named tropical storm, it's pretty consistent, meaning the information that we're getting, very reliable. So now is the time to start paying attention and getting ourselves ready. Pay attention, get yourselves ready. Prepare for rain, gather your supplies. And this is a big one. We really want to continue to stay in close contact and communication with the public every step of the way. We saw this last year as we were preparing for Barry, and an upward of 68,000 residents signed up to receive our text alerts through NOLA Ready in real time. We're doing and preparing to do the same, of course, for this season, but particularly this storm. So we're asking residents to text Cristobal to 888-777. That's CRISTOBAL to 888-777. Over the past couple of days, we've gathered about additional 3,000 residents that have taken advantage, and that is growing. Colin can give you more on that. All of our residents who signed up to receive these alerts last year, you're already included in the number for this year and for Cristobal. So we're continuing to grow that level of information in terms of communication and contact, but we need your help. Sign up because we need and we want you to be prepared with real-time information. Also, this is the time in terms of preparation. We're going to be relaxing. Our parking restrictions are lifting them as it relates to getting your vehicles to higher and safe ground. That will begin on tomorrow morning. We want to be proactive. We understand that these are still unprecedented times. Pandemic, Absolutely. Hurricane season, yes. And in the midst of just civil unrest in our country. But we will get through it, no doubt about it. As we've demonstrated that we will and we can move those vehicles, trash. We shouldn't have to wait for hurricane season or an event to remove trash from the streets. And I mean, sanitation is doing it, but I'm talking about public responsibility, littering throughout the city. Please, do me a favor. Go out, pick up trash, plastic bags, collect it, throw it in the trash can. It's important. This helps us relieve an added burden or attention to our very vulnerable drainage system. It is a system. It's Sewage and Water Board. It's, of course, the drain lines affiliated with the Department of Public Works. All things working together keeps us safe. This also means freeing our drains from trash that we as people put on the ground. This is the time. In addition to trash, your trash can receptacles at your home. Make sure you're not placing them out in front of your home on the lawn for, again, this storm is coming our way. We do not want, with the high water expected, trash cans floating, debris tops over, flowing into the drains. We need your help. Preparedness. Loose debris, collect that, gather it up. Make sure you're focusing on your pets as well. Your outdoor furniture and the like. Make sure you're tying it down. This storm appears to be very aggressive. We hope that it moves fast. We do not want it to sit and rest over the city of New Orleans for hours and hours and then sometimes days. We do not want that. However, we need to be prepared. This is where you come in more than ever. We're also asking you, do not get distracted. With so many things going on, we also have to stay focused on all of the different levers and layers that we're on, whether that's the pandemic. Everything still remains, meaning social distancing, no large gatherings, adhering to the guidelines and mandates of the city of New Orleans for phase 1. More information will be coming to you as we move forward, looking towards phase 2. That is not today. Today, we're in phase 1 throughout the next week for sure. Adhere to our guidelines. Very important. We have been in constant communication with all of our healthcare facilities, and all are prepared to treat our remaining residents who are hospitalized and being treated for COVID. They will continue to get the best quality of service that we, again, our healthcare professionals have demonstrated that they provide on a daily basis, and we appreciate them as well. Continue to. So we will continue to keep you, residents, public, engaged, updated throughout this tropical storm event. So just be prepared for all communications coming out of the city of New Orleans, as well as a unified command with our partners. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Homeland Security, Mr. Colin Arnold, at this time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning. Tropical Depression Cristobal is forecast to exit the Yucatan Peninsula tonight and move northward through the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. As of 10:15 a.m., a tropical storm watch has been issued for our entire area. It will likely regain tropical storm strengths as it moves through the Gulf, bringing impacts to our area Sunday and Monday primarily. Currently, the greatest threat here in New Orleans is expected to be heavy rainfall and minor to moderate coastal flooding. I would add in that tropical storm force winds throughout this will be a possibility and probably a probability. Those heavy rains could come well before the storm itself. So as the mayor mentioned, we are suspending parking restrictions for neutral grounds and sidewalks beginning at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Please move your vehicles to higher ground to protect them from street flooding. Depending on the predicted storm surge, we will have to very closely evaluate our areas of the city that are outside levee protection. that being Venetian Isles, Irish Bayou, and Lake Catherine. The Flood Protection Authority at this point is not closing Chef Highway floodgate. However, as we all know from past experience, that could change rapidly, and the situation out there could change rapidly. We will be in contact and watch this very closely in case we have to make any decisions about people outside of levee protection needing to leave. The residents in those areas, they're great people, they pay attention. A lot of them are boaters. They know, they watch the weather. They'll be watching this, and I encourage that. Wind impacts will depend on exact track, intensity, and structure of the storm as it approaches the coast. There's still some uncertainty with that, but the consensus modeling is somewhat coming together that we are going to get wind impacts. If we see tropical storm force winds, power outages, of course, are possible. If you or a loved one requires power for medical special needs, please call 311 to enroll in the special needs registry. The New Orleans Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness has been activated in the city's Emergency Operations Center for about 3 months now, but we will be transitioning to a tropical storm activation tomorrow. Representatives from our public safety, infrastructure, and human services agencies will be in the EOC 24/7 to monitor and respond to impacts. Additionally, the Real-Time Crime Center will be active 24/7, as they always are, to assist in real-time monitoring of weather impacts across the city. We have declared an emergency for the potential impacts we will see from Cristobal. I'm asking for residents to prepare now for heavy rain and potential power outages. Clear leaves and debris from gutters and downspouts, and clean in front of catch basins. Call 311 to report a catch basin that is not functioning. As the mayor mentioned, secure your outdoor furniture, your garbage bins. And really right now you need to be gathering supplies, including food, water, and medications for at least 3 days. Additionally, with COVID-19 in this landscape, please include masks, hand sanitizers, and disinfectants in your supplies. When you're getting supplies, think about your homebound and elderly family members and friends who may need help acquiring them. Neighbors helping neighbors is what we are all about, and why New Orleans is resilient. Again, the Special Needs Registry. The Special Needs Call Center will be taking calls beginning Saturday and remain open throughout the event. Call 311 to be connected if you have medical or mobility needs and might need extra help during this event. Protesters who are planning to participate in demonstrations during the weekend should be extra aware of the weather conditions. As I've said, there's going to be heavy rain, potential street flooding, and winds, and that can all arrive before this system actually arrives itself. Please put your safety first. Now is the time to stay and pay attention and stay connected. As the mayor mentioned, you can text Cristobal to 888-777. If you signed up last year for Barry, you were opted in, you do not have to sign up again. Follow us on social media at NOLA Ready. And all this information that I'm talking about can be found at our website, ready.nola.gov. That we're facing a tropical storm early in the season is an indication of what's to come, and it's been predicted. The National Weather Service is continuing to predict an above-average storm season. Stay informed. Get ready today and tomorrow, and shelter in place. Let's get this one right. Sorry. Superintendent Sean Ferguson, New Orleans Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Colin. Good morning. New Orleans Police Department stands prepared and ready for Tropical Storm Cristobal. New Orleans Police Department is currently at full staff, full strength. Any and all officers who have been impacted by COVID-19 have since returned back to work. So we have full staff. Starting 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, we will transition to a 12-hour shift throughout this event in preparation for expectation of increase in calls for service, any other services that we may have to provide throughout this event. Our equipment has been tested and stands ready. Boats, high water vehicles, and generators are all prepared. Our barricades are ready if needed. And with regards to Operation Underpass. With regards to Operation Underpass, we're asking if you see any standing water anywhere, underneath the overpass or in the streets, do not drive through that standing water. We do not want you to lose your vehicle, first and foremost. We do not wish for you to flood a business nor a residence throughout this event. We encourage our citizens to put your safety first. Prioritize your safety as the #1 goal in getting out of this event. As colleges recently mentioned, protesters, also please put your safety first. This is a wet event that we are expecting. We do not know the amount of water that we will receive, but we must put all of ourselves in a position to be out of this situation safely. Make sure your elderly family members, your elderly neighbors are ready and prepared with their kids as well during this event. The less you put yourself at risk is the less you put our first responders at risk in an attempt to save you or your loved ones. And because we are currently dealing with a current public health emergency, we're asking our citizens to continue to have your gloves, your masks, your hand sanitizer at your disposal. Please have that in your hurricane kit as we prepare for this weekend. And we also know that individuals may attempt to take advantage of this situation. And we're asking you to please take notice. The New Orleans Police Department will not and shall not condone or tolerate any criminal activity, specifically looting, throughout any events. We're in partnership with our public safety partners, and we're hoping to get through this safely. So again, please be prepared. Thank you. Next we have Hassan Corbin on sewage and water.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Our team has spent the last few days running through their hurricane checklist, and I can say with confidence that we are prepared for Cristobal. Our drainage pump stations will be fully staffed throughout the event. All 99 of our drainage pumps are operational and available to respond to what we anticipate will be heavy rains. We are securing our job sites around the city, making sure that anything that can fly away is tied down or stored away. We have positioned our fleet of trucks on heavy equipment to protect them against damage and flooding and to make it accessible in case of emergency. We are driving along our open canals, making sure that there are no impediments or large pieces of debris that we need to pick up. We have tested our power equipment, including our 3 remaining steam turbines and our backup EMPs. They are all in working order. We are in constant communication with Entergy. They are a crucial part of our power supply, and they are certainly more important than ever in terms of being part of our redundant system. Especially with the loss of Turbine 5, we will be using our EMPs at the Kelton station when the rain begins. They will be loud, but they will provide much needed reliable electricity for our drainage pumps. I want to be clear that with the amount of rain forecasted, it is more likely that we will experience street flooding. The drainage system can handle a considerable volume of stormwater, but it has limits. Capacity and age will play a major factor in how we perform. It will take time for our canals to collect and our pumps to move the rain that comes from intense, prolonged downpours. It's all about intensity. Please stay clear of low-lying areas, especially underpasses. We stand ready to drain the city as fast as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks y'all for being here. Very quickly, from the general infrastructure and operations side of the city, at present we have all, DPW crews on standby. We have 5 vac trucks fueled and ready to deploy. They are out there. You will see them. We have dump trucks loaded with barricades ready to deploy as needed if this storm requires it. We have about several $100 million worth of active construction sites right now. All of those contractors, if you see them in your neighborhood, are securing down their materials, ensuring that any stockpiles adjacent to a catch basin is secured, so we do not impact our small line drainage system. You will see contractors for city government and the Joint Infrastructure Program in cooperation with Sewage and Water Board working tomorrow. They're going to be securing down all of those job sites. As you drive around, if you are driving around, please look out for people working on the sides of our roads, on our construction sites. We have a ton of them. Our statistics tell us that our catch basin cleaning and our small line drainage work this year has gone really well. That work is showing effectively in some of our rain events of late, so that's a good thing to see. As the mayor and Collins said, all parking restrictions will be suspended beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow. If you do park in a neutral ground, please drive very slowly. Take care of our grass, particularly Napoleon Avenue. We have a meandering, beautiful walking trail with new trees. Please be very aware of the impact your vehicle could have on them. If your trash day is in the next several days, be conscious of when you put your can out and bring it in immediately. Do not let a trash can sit on the side of the road and float away in the event we have street flooding. Additionally, parks and parkways, all crews are on standby. If you see a tree limb fall or you see a tree emergency, please report it to 311 and our folks will be out there as soon as they possibly can. On our city asset side, our generators are in a very good position. Our buildings are secure. Our building assessments pre-storm have gone very well compared to years in years past. And finally, on the Entergy side, our partners at Entergy have notified their crews, their contractors are standing by to safely restore power and gas where and when needed. That is all. Thank you so much.
Can you provide them just with information on how we are securing canal collapse?
Yes. Yeah, so on the canal collapse site, we started storm prep. The owner, I should say, started storm prep in coordination with the fire department about 2 or 3 days ago. There will be a stalling of demolition work over the weekend as they prepare the site as much as they possibly can. But we're seeing a very stable site there, given the winds that we may or may not have. Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, thank you all again. We do stand prepared to respond to Tropical Storm Cristobal. It has been demonstrated by our leaders of this community, all of our department heads as well. We are prepared in a unified manner with our local, state, and federal partners as well. So with that, Ms. LaTanya, we'll take any questions that our friends have.
Certainly, Madam Mayor. The advocate? WGNO?
Mayor, tell us a little bit about the storm preps and with protests. What is your recommendation? Tell us what you think needs to happen.
What do you mean?
Like, so with the storm coming, protests.
Well, protests are planned. I say they move forward as planned, in peace and in harmony and uplifting, what we're standing against and being in solidarity doing so. So we are just making sure that they also are aware, that they're alert about Tropical Storm Cristobal, when we do expect to see rainfall, and we do expect to see Saturday leading up again Sunday being maybe the heaviest, also going into Monday. But we want our people all to be mindful, to be respectful, to be prepared, and that's pretty much it. Be as prepared as we are.
And if flooding occurs and we need to evacuate a few people, how will this coordinate with the coronavirus and the COVID? How will we be handling this?
Sure, so you're talking about if we call for an evacuation?
Well, of a flooding area and people need to be evacuated to certain areas.
Well, if in fact lower lying areas will continue to monitor and watch, and of course should there need to be a call for an evacuation, we will do that. And as far as the city is concerned, our city-wide city-assisted evacuation plan, we stand ready to implement that should it be called. But we are prepared. Anything you want to add on this, Colin?
This is a low-level storm. There will be no city-assisted evacuation pre-storm. If, as you're referring to, there is localized flooding in an area that we would need to get into to move people. We have boats and high water vehicles positioned around the city geographically that are run by the fire department, police department, and EMS. We'll utilize social distancing and N95 masks to move people. And we have a few rec centers on standby, socially distanced, that we can use for shelters.
Next, we have WBSU, followed by Fox 8.
This is for Sewage and Water Board.
Okay.
Can the frequency chargers be fortified during high winds? And what happens if they go out? And are there other power issues during the storm?
Sure. Unexpected conditions as well. Come on, Big
Can
Sam.
you repeat the first part of it?
The frequency chargers, can they be fortified in high winds?
All our frequency changes have been tested, have been calibrated, and we don't anticipate any issues. That doesn't mean that something cannot happen or may not go wrong, but we don't anticipate that. But we've tested them and they all are in working order.
Is there any other power issues that you may be facing?
There's always power issues with our fragile system. It's an old system, old pieces of equipment. We do everything we can proactively to anticipate some issues. We've been doing that for the last several months, as I explained in the last press conference. We've done a lot of proactive work in anticipation, but things could go wrong in a moment's notice. And our staff is remarkably competent and have a lot of expertise, and they're on the ready to respond to any adversity that we may face.
And reminding that pumping stations will be fully staffed. Hands on deck should we do have additional power to therefore restore work to do that. The last event we had lightning strike hitting pumping station number 1, causing drainage to slow for about 45 minutes. But again, staff, team acted very swiftly and prevented significant flooding in the area. However, we did see in real time when it comes down, the intensity of it, that has an impact. We're prepared.
Fox 8.
My questions are kind of off topic for Madam Mayor
Well,
and
if
the
it's off
chief.
topic, then you're off topic, not right now.
All right.
Okay? We can make time for that after this vote. It's very important that we stay on track.
WWL. Television. Jambalaya. Washington Post.
I'm curious about the Hard Rock collapse and if there are concerns about the safety of that very precarious situation given the high winds and things
Well,
like that.
yeah,
that
we
may
just
be
gave you an update on that.
Okay, I apologize.
In terms of the site, the owners, the contractors who have the responsibility not only to demolish but also to secure the site in preparation for Tropical Storm Cristobal. We're looking at an impact as it relates to stop work for about 3 days, okay? We will pick up, they will pick up their time moving forward after we see the impacts of Tropical Storm Cristobal. It remains a very sensitive, unstable situation and environment. However, I'm very pleased, I would say, with the contractors that have been on the job.
Any other questions?
Thank you all so much. So we'll regroup. I'm gonna let my folks go. If you can tell me what questions you do have, that will dictate if I keep my chief or not. If not, then we're gonna move on.
Question is, what are your concerns about tonight and over the weekend as far as are there added security measures that will be taken? What's your response on the ban on tear gas? Also, there's a video that surfaced about supposedly rumors of NOPD planning to use rubber bullets, and actually did that happen? And will the use of tear gas continue?
Yeah. Okay. So we're good. Unless you all want to hang out. I don't want you to stand in the sun longer than you have to. Although I know you may like get the sun. Especially that vitamin D. I know it's D, which is deficient in black folks because it's COVID-19. Yes, indeed. Okay. So we'll move forward. Sir.
Are there any additional concerns when it comes to the protest? You know, with not only the storm, but maybe increased violence or just safety as it moves towards the French Quarter?
Well, there has been some rhetoric, even some rumors, as I call, as it relates to violence as in our protest. And we will remain prepared as we've been over the past 7 days. And so I'm going to ask Chief Ferguson to step on up and just give you a little bit more of how we're prepared, but also standing up and standing with our protesters for a peaceful demonstration. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor mentioned, I think our actions have spoken louder than words. From day one, we have been side by side with the protesters in a peaceful manner to ensure safety for everyone and giving them the platform to exercise their constitutional rights. As far as are we prepared, are there any concerns for tonight or going through the weekend? There's always concerns, but we stand prepared as always. We continue to work with our federal and state partners as needed with regards to these protests. And we will continue to do so throughout this weekend. You asked something about rubber bullets or rubber pellets. That is under investigation. And I'll tell you this, if we did use that, I will own that. But that is under investigation now. We will discuss that further once we have more information with regards to that. I have received videos. I have received complaints about that. So my force investigation team is looking into that. And as I am given the information, we will continue to be transparent. We will continue to own whatever action that we have taken, and we'll discuss collectively whether it was justified or not. But nevertheless, we will be transparent as always. Any other questions?
One of the questions the other reporter asked, Councilman Banks has proposed a ban on the use of tear gas by NOPD in the city of New Orleans. Can you comment on that proposal?
I mean, I would like to wait to see what is stated in that proposal. I mean, we as a law enforcement agency, we have to have some resources when we're dealing with any situation. So I'm open to discussion. If they want to, if anyone wants to make a recommendation with regards to removing tear gas as a source or a resource or two within our toolbox, I'm open to suggestions as to what would be the next step of engagement, what would be the next tool that we should use. But I think this is a bigger discussion that should be had and not had on camera or in a publicity stunt. It is about us talking collectively. How do we move together forward, together as a community?
Anyone else? WWL.
Chief, a lot of word about extra law enforcement coming into town this weekend to help with the extra protesters in the quarter. Have you heard anything about that?
It's the same partners we continue to have. Our partners, our federal partners, continue to be with us throughout, not just throughout this protest, but every event that we may have in this city, be it Essence Festival, Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, whatever. We have our federal and state partners, boots on the ground with us at every event. So yes, you will see our partners, you may very well see our partners out there with us.
Any intelligence about outside groups protesting in the city and specifically the quarter this weekend?
I have been saying from day one, from 2-3 days ago, do not take the bait. We absolutely expect outsiders to come in here, and they have been coming in, as I've stated, and trying to entice our community to escalate their behavior, which is unfortunately what we experienced a couple of nights ago. Will it just be this weekend? I don't know. But we are prepared for whatever may come our way.
Is there any credible information about maybe destroying parts of the French Quarter or beating other neighborhoods?
We have not received any credible information, but we have heard, I've received numerous concerns from our community about that, because this is what they have heard, and we're standing prepared and ready for that as well. We have been on the lookout for this throughout this entire process, and we've been fortunate enough to have a community that did not allow this to happen. And let me say this while I'm talking about that. The other night, the community was very instrumental in stopping, I'm talking about the protesters, stopping individuals who wish to break glass, who was attempting to vandalize with spray paint throughout these protests. The protesters themselves have been an enforcer for us, like a force multiplier for us, and working for us and with us and not against us. But at some point in time, We just have to stand collectively together and see this is it. This is our city and we're going to own it. And this is what we've been doing this week.
Any other questions?
Mayor, what's your reaction to the police using tear gas against the protesters on Wednesday night?
My reaction?
Yes,
My
ma'am.
reaction is that our officers are trained to respond to any confrontations of that matter, meaning when warnings are given, but yet are not followed. And when there is a deliberate choice to confront and to overstep the guidelines that have been articulated by law enforcement, then our department is trained to respond as they need to, but with respect, with constitutional policing practices, and that's exactly what was demonstrated on Wednesday. But let me tell you, effective policing in terms of community policing and practices have been demonstrated by the New Orleans Police Department from day one. So we're going to continue to do that. As the chief mentioned, we do not hide information. We stand up to it, any challenges, and we own it. We own it. We act swiftly, and accountability goes across all lines. That builds trust in our community, and this community, this city, for years to build that trust. And we're not going to allow an event to have a meaning to escalate, push us off, and knock us down when we have been building community and trust for years. And we're going to stand up, for our people, stand up with our protesters in solidarity. But violence is something that we will not allow. We cannot afford to. Too much is on the line, and that means the protection of the people that we serve in this city, all of our people. So we thank you for that question, but you know what? We've demonstrated how effectively our officers are trained to protect and serve, and that's what we will do. I stand with them. Doing right, you got it. Doing wrong, oh no.
Last question, the advocate.
There's a proposal from the City Council to rename Jefferson Davis Parkway in honor of Norman Francis, and possibly rename other streets throughout the city as well. Wonder if we could get your comment on.
Well, I don't know about other streets, that you're referring to. However, that is absolutely a land use matter under the authority of the New Orleans City Council. As mayor of the city, having been involved in hearing and understanding the work that has gone on throughout the community, building support for the renaming of Jefferson Davis Parkway to Dr. Norman C. Francis. I'm a graduate of Xavier University of Louisiana. I know what Xavier has meant to me, to the city of New Orleans, to the state of Louisiana, and to the black community throughout the U.S. of A. So with that, the longest serving president of any college or university in the USA, our guy right here, son of the city of New Orleans, he deserves that, and I'm standing with that. So thank you so much. You all have a good day. Thank you.